Welcome back to Bearded Peppers. In today's video, we're going to go over the lighting system that we plan on using for 2022, getting all of our seeds ready to go and outside. It's still really cold where we are. We're getting frost every day. Last year, I think we were getting frost up until about March, even late March. So we really need to get this going for the season. So what we plan on using are these Hyper Tough lights. They're 5500 lumen and they're daylight. This is a new setup that we're using. I saw a video by the Rusted Gardener. He had a similar setup with a similar shelf setup, and it looked like it was working well for him. So we decided that we'd go ahead and do it. So the idea is that there's going to be two lights hanging from each shelf. So there'll be one here, and then down here there'll be one here, and another one there. For both of our seed trays, both of our shelves, we have 4 seed trays, which is going to give us about 90 plants. These lights right here were not too bad. Walmart has them online for 20 bucks, but they're not the 5500 lumen. They're only 5,000. Our local Walmart had these in stock. They were $10 extra a pop, so I just decided to buy them. But yeah, fairly cheap, easy to use. I already hung one up in front of our washer and dryer, so super easy to connect and everything. So along with these lights, we're going to use these iPower heat mats. These are really good for keeping your seeds nice and toasty, the soil nice and warm, to get them propagating and germinating and all that good stuff. What we will also be using with these, we used one of these last year, but I had to get an additional one. This heat mat thermostat, which makes this heat mat work way better. Essentially, you program whatever you want your soil temperature to be. I think last year I used 79. There is a little probe that goes into the soil, and it'll read the temperature of the soil and keep it at that temperature, which is really good for trying to get your seeds going, especially with the super hots, because I had a lot of super hots that didn't really go well last year. We also got some other products that we'll be using that came in. The B-hyve water system. Right now I have a Rainbird. It's all right. My friend Johnny recommended this to us. It connects to Wi-Fi. It'll actually check the weather in your area, and if it's too hot, it'll do more watering. If there's a rain that's scheduled to plant, I think you can set it to where even if there's a percentage of rain, so you can say, hey, if it's going to be a 30% chance or higher, I don't want you to water. It'll set that for you as well. You can also just do random waterings on your phone, which is really good for us because where we are in the summer, it gets very toasty. And having to go outside and manually start watering stuff is not a situation that we really appreciate doing. Lastly, we got the fertilization for the drip irrigation system, which is really nice. We'll be doing a video on that later. Essentially, you take this little part right here, connect it into your drip irrigation system. There is a little nubbin right here that you connect to a hose. That hose feeds into a bucket with all your fertilizer. And there's a little dial switch that you can't see here. You twist it open, and when you twist it open, when you turn on the water, it pulls in the fertilizer because there's this very special design where it's what was it? It's like a cone and a cone, and because one cone's bigger than the other, it sucks the water up in it, which would be, in this case, the fertilizer to send out to the rest of the garden. So yeah, one other thing to mention, with these heat maps, if you don't insulate them at the bottom, they will not work as well either. That was a problem that we took a while to figure out last year. Essentially what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to take some cardboard, lay it under these so it keeps the heat going up and not being sucked down. Right now, if we didn't have anything under there, it would just be wasted heat just being generated everywhere. So make sure if you do get these, make sure you insulate them with cardboard. I think some people were saying you could use some styrofoam as well. Cardboard works just as good for us. So what I want to show you next is some of the earlier options of lights that we use. They're just as good, but this year we wanted to try something a little bit different. We're also going to be doing more plants this year, so it made sense to do a little upgrade. So this is the first light setup that we had. Not a bad little setup. Yeah, it's just 3 little light bars on these pivoting arms. That way you can kind of move them wherever you needed to, position in between your plants even. Really good. There is a little timer on this as well. If you can see here, here's power. There's also a cycle for it, so you can actually make it dimmer and brighter if you wanted to as well. It's dim, it's bright. You can change the spectrum if you're doing something very specific with your plant, like a certain stage of development. And we have all red, blue, and then the full spectrum. There's also a built-in timer as well, right here, if you can see that. So it goes from 4 to 8 to 12 hours. We had 3 to 4 of these, which was good. But at a certain point, our plants just got a little too big, and our situation wouldn't work with the connections that we had, because what you end up using is this little clamp to hold it in place. And we were running out of space for the clamps, so we ended up getting something else, which is right here. These guys were also bought on Amazon. And these worked out really good, and they were very bright. Ooh. Again, full color spectrum. You have red, blue, and some clear light or white light. I think when we bought these, you got 2 in a kit for $50. And what we ended up doing, or what you have to do, is you have to actually hang them up. They're not adjustable. It's just a little hanger right here. We ended up hanging these up from the rafters, which worked out pretty well, but at a certain point, it just got kind of tiresome because we had to figure out a way to adjust them and bring them closer to the lights and bring them up. So yeah, we ended up going with the new setup, which we'll have to do, but at least the chain system that they have is a lot easier than we ended up just having string strung up in the rafters, and we would pull it up and down, which wasn't ideal. So yeah, that's pretty much what we have in store for today's video. Go ahead and leave a like and a comment if you have any questions about any of this stuff that we're going to be doing this year, or any questions about the products. Really looking forward to getting the garden started for 2022. A lot more peppers, which is very ideal for our situation. Speaking for me, I personally really love hot sauce, so I've already started making some hot sauce this week. So hopefully with all the new peppers, make some hot sauce, pepper flakes, hot honey. Oh, there's so many things you can do with pepper. So getting this up and going for this year is going to be a real treat. Thank you very much for watching.